Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
Nobody cares. And that's just the way it works. When you're big, everybody cares. When you're
they
little,
bring up the Rita Chatterton thing, right? The referee, the female referee. And in the early 80s, I guess she was on Geraldo, and that's where she said that Vince basically raped her, and then Vince sued Geraldo and Charlton, later on dropped charges, right?
Yeah. Right.
Then all these years later, with the Janelle Grant coming in, Vince settled suit with Rita Chatterton all these years later. But she says something pretty telling in the video. She says that she had to if she wanted $1 million contract. So the question I have for you, I think Benny Scala actually brought it up to me too. What referee in wrestling is making $1 million?
No, back then, no, doesn't seem realistic at all.
So if someone's going to lie about that, wouldn't they lie about the whole thing? And by the way, Vince in the docuseries says it was consensual sex. He says it was consensual sex.
Yeah, that $1 million bullshit. That's bullshit. Vince is that's to me that reeks of bullshit. I mean, nobody was making that kind of money, much less referees. No, I'm not buying that for 1 second. Not 1 second. Can't. Doesn't make any sense to me. So that's interesting. It seems to be like, Vince got to tell his side, which I've been waiting to hear. I'm going to have to see this for myself.
Jimmy, the thing about Vince, he's very matter of fact about everything. He seems very honest and very matter of fact about the situations. Just like, yep, this is what happened. Right. This is what I believe. Very blunt. This is how I live. Yeah. He says in part of the video, he says he never looks back. I never look back because you can't change the past.
Well, I don't know what he means by he never looks back. I know that he's been forced to look back when he's making some of his on-the-fly business decisions with the company. I'm sure he's looked back, but maybe he looks at the steroid trial or whatever other bad winds blow his way. He doesn't ponder. He doesn't dwell on. And you know what? That would be consistent with Vince because Vince couldn't afford to dwell on problems. Like we all get our woe is me stuff. But in the game that Vince McMahon has played all these years, you can't afford that. You can't afford to, do the woe is me or maybe I should have done this or that. Vince wouldn't have been such a trailblazer if he had always been second guessing himself or taking it too personally every time somebody says something about him. It's a much smaller microscope. And Mike, there's been plenty of shit said about you and me. And you know what? Whatever, you gotta fucking do what you gotta do. I don't give. I've learned to not give two fucks about that stuff. You try to at least, and I think that's what Vince was saying. I don't look back, especially on the bad shit. How can I look forward if I'm too busy looking at my rearview mirror all the time?
Our friend Tony Atlas was on the docuseries. I actually spoke to him yesterday. He called me. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm watching you on the docuseries." He goes, "Oh, which one is that?" I'm like, "It's the McMahon Netflix." We're talking yesterday, right? By the way, he's going to come and do an interview with us. He has a lot he wants to talk about, but he says to me, "I don't even remember what I said." And you know what he says though, which was very interesting. Number one, they talk about the Jesse Ventura union deal, and right, and they asked Tony, and Tony's like, wrestlers only care about themselves. And there's some point Tony said that the wrestlers, they treated women like crap. They used them and abused them, and they were like a toy.
I believe it.
Tony was very honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they were groupies. That's all there is to it. The ring rats were just a fancy word for groupies. And I'm sure wrestlers did whatever they wanted with them. I mean, I recently heard something about Don Henley. I know it's not wrestling, but it's showmanship. That Don Henley did something that blew my mind. He would get girls into his room. He'd line up like 7 of them, have them undress, all bend over, and he would sit on a chair and do coke, then get up and have sex with one of them, sit back down, keep them all in the same position, just stay bent over. Do you believe this crap, by the way? Okay?
I do. You're not shocking me. You're not shocking me.
Do another line, walk up to the next one. I mean, what the? You know, welcome to the Hotel California. No wonder you never want to leave. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I think it when
crazy.
people become that powerful and then
Yeah,
people allow them to things to be done to
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Listen, man, you know
It's
what?
crazy.
This type of shit's been going on forever and ever. But it's funny about wrestling. It's so real.
Hmm.
Everybody's got a price. You and me, Jimmy, both have a price. We
Mm,
do. We do. Whether
mm,
people want to admit it or not, we all have a price. Now,
I
again, there
guess.
may be certain
Yeah.
things that we don't have a price for, which is kind
Right.
of contradictory to what I'm saying. I get that,
Right.
right? But
Right.
it's like, look, I'm not going to murder someone for money, right? I mean, I wouldn't do that, right? I'm not going to hurt someone for money. That's not my gig, but there might be other stuff I'd do for money. I don't know.
Wow,
I might.
you just made me self-examine myself. I'm thinking to myself, who am I murdering? How much?
That's
That's
great.
interesting.
That's great. That's great.
Well, it depends on who I'm murdering. If I'm taking out a terrorist that I think is really bad for the globe, the world situation, sure, I'll take him out. That's fine. That works. I would have taken out Hitler back in the day. If I got a price. Hell, I might have done it for free.
I mean, part of it, the part of the thing was
You know.
at the end. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard they ask a bunch of wrestlers what's Vince McMahon's legacy, and all of them
Hmm.
can't answer at all. From what I'll
Yeah.
watch it, I'll watch it after we're off tonight because I'll finish up tonight because I'm interested. But
Yeah.
I thought to myself,
Yeah.
like, this whole thing has destroyed this guy's legacy.